Could a Christian move to a Muslim country and freely and openly convert the people from Islam to Muslim? To Christian?
Well, ideally, under Islamic law, no, you're not allowed to, because Christianity is false while Islam is the truth.
And
so just because you guys are liberal, wait, I'll answer you. Just because you guys are liberals, following liberalism, and you believe that anyone can do whatever they want to do, that does not mean that we're also liberal. We don't allow harmful ideologies for our children. We don't allow rainbow flags in our countries. Just because you guys are liberals, following liberalism, and you believe that anyone can do whatever they want to do.
If you play that one, it's with Jesse Lee Peterson.
Got it.
And he's asking this Islamist, why do you live in a white Christian country and not in your country? He's so honest about it, but I think it's good for the audience and for you to see. Here, watch this, Vinny.
You live in a white country rather than your own country. You live in
It's
London.
not a white country.
Why do you live in a white country? I'm sorry?
It's not a white country, because I want to tell people about Islam. And if I stay in a Muslim country, they're already Muslim. So there's no point of me telling them about Islam, right? So I have to be in a place where people are not Muslim, right? So if I'm in the UK, there is a lot of people who are from different religions, different faiths, where I can have a dialogue, because this is what I do, right? Interfaith, religious discourse, and all of that. So I engage with different people.
Could a Christian move to a Muslim country and freely and openly convert the people from Islam to Muslim? To Christian?
Well, ideally, under Islamic law, no, you're not allowed to, because Christianity is false while Islam is the truth.
And
so just because you guys are liberal, wait, I'll answer you. Just because you guys are liberals, following liberalism, and you believe that anyone can do whatever they want to do, that does not mean that we're also liberal. We don't allow harmful ideologies for our children. We don't allow rainbow flags in our countries. We don't allow these harmful ideologies to infiltrate into our people. So we are very self-aware of what is the truth, and we try to follow the truth, and we don't allow falsehood to be broadcasted, because Christianity is false while Islam is the truth.
He's right. And I mean the Muslim guy is right. His name is Muslim Lantern, by the way. He's part of the so-called Dawah team. Dawah just means Muslim evangelism. It's scandal after scandal after scandal with these guys. And they always seem to get destroyed by Christians on every single debate. I'm not even being biased. Go and check it out yourselves, all right? But what have I been telling you guys on this channel? Haven't I been telling you that liberalism is the real problem? That liberalism is a bigger problem than Islam? Haven't I? Look, is Islam a problem in the West? Yes, a huge problem. A huge, dangerous problem. But liberalism is an even bigger problem, people. Do you know why? Because it's liberalism that created the Islamic problem. Put it this way. If we didn't have liberalism, we wouldn't have the Islamic problem. Why do I feel like every time I mention secular liberalism, I get the feeling that you guys don't really know or fully understand what I'm talking about? I think that a lot of you guys still think that the West, England, America, Australia, Europe, are Christian countries, are Christian continents. Is that what you guys think? Is it? Because I hope not. I hope you don't. If you think Europe is still Christian, then you've been lied to. You have. You've been lied to. Europe, the West, is no longer Christian, guys. Yes, are we seeing the youth slowly coming back to Christianity? Yes, we are. But as far as it goes on a government level, no, absolutely not. On the government level, it's liberalism. Let me give you an example. Would a Christian country allow abortion? Of course they wouldn't. Yes, historically, the West was Christian. And what do I mean by the West was Christian? I mean that the relationship between the state and the church was so intimate that the laws that the state or the kings passed were deliberately informed by Christian values. Whereas today, the state will deliberately, on purpose, not consult the church or care about what the church thinks before passing a law. And do you know why? Do you? It's because of a political philosophy called liberalism. That's right. It's this political philosophy that led to the separation of church and state. And the period in history that this happened in is called the Enlightenment period. The Enlightenment period writers like Voltaire, John Locke, David Hume, Rousseau, basically argued that we didn't need a church. We didn't need Christianity to determine right from wrong. They argued that human reason was sufficient to not only determine right from wrong, but to structure government and society. To the Enlightenment writers, it was all about increasing and protecting individual freedoms. It was all about liberating the individual from religious dogma. It was all about individualism. In a nutshell, the Enlightenment writers basically took Christian values and perverted it. I'll give you a quick example of what I mean. Christians believe that every human being has inherent dignity because we are all created in the image of God. This means, for example, that you cannot force people to become Christians. But in a Christian country ruled by Christian laws, something like abortion would never, ever, ever, ever be legalized. So even though a person has the freedom to not be a Christian in a Christian country, they would still have to abide by Christian laws. Whereas liberalism says that people are free to believe what they want to believe, even if it leads to the legalization of the murder of millions of babies in the womb, aka abortion. You see the difference? As you can see, both ideologies claim to believe in freedom of conscience and freedom of speech for the individual, but only one leads to murder and tyranny, the opposite of freedom. I think the Enlightenment writers didn't take into account that their philosophy could be wrong because human beings have a sinful nature, which means they can abuse these freedoms. Or maybe they did, and this was the intention all along. Who knows, right? Both are okay with freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, but one has led to the biggest Holocaust witnessed by mankind, whilst the other leads to the protection of human life. So why do I say liberalism created the Islamic problem in the West? The answer is religious freedom. Religious freedom under secular liberalism means that you can't criticize the religion of Islam. You can't criticize the Prophet of Islam. Otherwise, you are called a what? A Islamophobe. Whereas religious freedom in a Christian country ruled by Christian laws, you would be able to criticize the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad. You would be able to criticize Islam. And if Islam became a danger to society, Muslims would get deported and the religion would get banned. Do you now see why secular liberal countries allow Muslims to get away with what they get away with? Why in secular liberal countries we are not allowed to connect Islamic terrorist attacks to the Islamic religion, even though Islamic religious texts like the Quran and Hadiths literally commands terrorism? For goodness sakes, terrorists literally shout the name of their God, Allahu Akbar, every time they commit an act of terror. It's because of secular liberalism, it's because of how freedom is interpreted under secular liberalism, which boils down to doing whatever you want, do as thy will, that we have all these problems with Islam in the West. It's the same thing when it comes to sexual freedom under secular liberalism. Sexual freedom under secular liberalism led to what? Didn't it lead to the hookup culture? Didn't it lead to the LGBTQ movement? And didn't it lead to people being called homophobic? And as they say, you are slut shaming if you criticize women who have sex outside of marriage? Exactly. Again, this is because of the secular liberalism concept of freedom, which boils down to do as thy will, to doing whatever you want. So if the secular liberalism idea of freedom is to do whatever they want, whatever you want, which it is, I mean, look at women in our society today. They have the freedom, the right to murder babies in the womb. It doesn't get worse than that. How can secular liberals be surprised that Muslims are committing acts of terror or are involved in rape gangs when it's secular liberalism that gives them the freedom to practice their religion? Some people may say, but we have laws against terrorism and rape gangs. Then why are we not allowed to criticize their religion over it? Why not? Why is the government doing everything in their power to make it illegal to criticize the Islamic religion? You do the math. So what's the solution? Go back to Christianity. Only Christian values can protect you from harmful religions like Islam. True freedom does not come from this liberal idea of freedom, which just boils down to people doing whatever they want, or do as thy will, as Aleister Crowley put it. If everyone can do what they want, then why can't the Muslims do what they want as well? Why can't the Muslims fight to enslave you? Isn't it their religious right to believe that? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time, all right? Peace.